All right, well, let's get in the news because it's a huge news day, and Donald Trump was holding court at the White House. He brought Vladimir Zelensky, who kind of wore a suit. Now, what do we think of the suit, guys? Well, we'll play some clips here in a second because he showed up. He did not get the red carpet treatment. He's coming out of his plane, and he's got the black T-shirt on, the same one I used when I was giving a bottle to my kids this morning. I had the double bottle going, the 3-year-old and the 1-year-old. They're both doing the cross-handed move. Same exact shirt as Zelensky, who's trying to meet the leader of the free world. A little bit disrespectful, do we think? I think so, a little bit. It turns me off a bit. As a guy who doesn't want to be in every single war, and we're funding his war, and we don't know where most of the money's going, probably to vacation destinations in Europe somewhere for oligarchs. It'd be nice if he could wear a suit. So Trump talked him into wearing something, which is nice. But the main thing is, can we get to peace? And this is the real puzzle. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know how this is going to go. For the main point is, Zelensky has acted as though he is not willing to relinquish any territory to Putin, including territory that Putin's had since the Obama years. This is where I think Trump is in a very precarious spot because Trump wants peace. He's a peacetime president. He's already forged half a dozen different peace deals already at the beginning of his administration, and we're only half a year in. He's a guy who does not want war. He's a guy who wants the world to be a peaceful place. And so when you look at it through that lens, that Trump doesn't want this global distraction that's taking place, messing up the whole economic order worldwide, messing up European trade deals. He wants to calm this thing down, and he wants the credit because he's a guy who likes to get stuff done. He likes to move fast, break stuff, get scalps, get medals, get trophies, fill the trophy case. That's Trump's MO. This is on his list. So I'm trying to figure out, is there daylight? Is there room where Putin can give up something that he's okay with, Zelensky can give up something, and we can broker a peace? A few things I know. Putin is not going home unless he can declare this is a victory. He's not going to go back to Russia and say anything that could be potentially interpreted as anything other than we gained ground, we got the upper hand in this negotiation. Zelensky has a problem too. So once the war ends, he's irrelevant. He's getting increasingly less popular in Ukraine, where he's refusing to hold elections. More on that momentarily. And considering that what's he going to do? He's going to lose if he holds another election, and who knows if he even survives that long. So he might be better off keeping the war going, and that's exactly how he was talking today, and it's how he's spoken in the past, which is why we had that alarming Oval Office summit all those months ago. So this is the premise where we start. Putin's got to get a W somehow. Zelensky doesn't really want the war to end because that's what keeps the gravy train going, and it might be keeping him alive. And yet Trump is the one who really wants this peace brokered because that is the nature of things with the way Donald Trump operates. He wants peace. He wants to do things surgically, and he wants to cut a deal, and he wants to be done with it, and then he wants to move on to prosperous things, building things. He's a builder. He's going to do the cleanup. This is cleanup. He's cleaning up for Joe Biden's mess. And it's funny because later in the show, we'll talk a lot about my latest book, Breaking the Law, which is out now, and about the lawfare superstructure. But my prior book, Breaking Biden, where I profiled the Biden family, a deep dive, historical accounting, I think, of the Biden years and Biden's history. The thing I'm most proud of in the book is that I was the first person, I think, on a major level to say that the Ukraine war was Joe Biden's fault, even more than Putin's. And I walk through the logic in a chapter where I talk about how Biden put only Russophobes in charge of his Russia-Ukraine policy, people who hate Russia, people who try to poke Putin in the eye, who have no respect for him and have no respect for Russian history, anything like that. Not to say you should feel that way as talk radio audience. But these are people who are supposed to be diplomats, and they're the least diplomatic people on earth. They hated Russia. That's who Biden put in there. And more importantly, Biden and Tony Blinken kept teasing that Ukraine could one day join NATO. That is a non-starter for much of the world, especially Putin. And whenever America had done that stuff in the past, Russia always invades. Whenever there is this specter of Ukraine joining NATO, and thus the entirety of the Ukrainian territory would be gone from Russia's empire forever, unequivocally, because that means there would be a nuclear war if Russia ever tried to claw it back. Because remember, we're nuclear armed. So are other NATO countries. So that means if Russia goes and gets it, we're obliged to go to nuclear war on behalf of Ukraine. So Russia was not happy about that. So they always invade somewhere. That's what Joe Biden did. He provoked Russia and Putin to invade. Putin's a bad guy. I don't like Putin. No excuses for Putin. I can't think of anyone who likes Putin. But what I do know is that if Joe Biden had been so horrible in this policy, then Putin wouldn't have invaded. And now Trump is here and he's got this mess in his hands. He doesn't want it. He wants to get past it. So then what does a solution look like? I think a solution looks like that Ukraine is going to have to cede some territory. Donbass, Crimea, that's going to go. At least most of it's going to go. And then what is Putin going to have to give up in return to get this thing to stop? It looks as though Zelensky is demanding security, just sort of permanent security state, which is interesting to me because Ukraine should not be joining NATO. I don't want even a sort of a phony half NATO, which is what we kind of have now, where all the NATO countries protect Ukraine. I'm not into that. Too expensive, and I don't trust it. I don't trust we know where the money's going, and I don't want to get too entangled in this foreign entrapment that we're in right now. But there's got to be something. There's got to be a give and take. And when we come back from the break, I'm going to play some of the clips from the event. I'm going to go through what was being discussed and what is the European leaders, what they think is the common interests that are there. But security guarantees is the big question. Can we have security guarantees for Ukraine and realistically get to a peace? That's the big question. There's only one man on earth who could possibly broker that. That's Donald Trump. Will he do it? He didn't do it today, but are we days away? I'll tell you, the vibes were pretty dang good.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.